You're listening to the world-famous White Roof Radio. Woofcast number 615, recorded February 7th, 2017. Tonight brought to you by CravenSpeed.com, MotoringStripes.com, and OutMotoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and style. It's OutMotoring.com. One, two, three. Is everybody ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Yep. Go.
And it goes a little something like this. Hit it. Hey, everybody, it's DB in Arizona with a brand new episode of the world-famous White Roof Radio. Got a huge show for you now. We're just going to kind of jump right into it. Guys are really revved up, ready to go. Joining us this week, as always, my good friend Todd Pearson, MotoringStripes.com. Todd, say hi.
I am here holding down the Rebel base in Kansas.
Nice. that little giggle there, you hear Alex is with us tonight. We got Alex back. Alex, say hi.
Yes, I am back, and I would like to thank our female audience for all the fine mail that I've received since last week. So, ladies, no, I am not gay, as my friends have suggested here.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, not there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, LGBT power and everything, right? But I wonder about our friends, about my other friends actually, because they keep. I received the female fine mail, and you guys receive emails about screws and clutch jobs and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'm questioning all of that.
30 questions.
Yeah.
Alex is getting panties in the mail, and we're getting questions about clutches.
About clutches, of course. Joining us this week also our good friend, the head mechanic, the Reverend himself, Mr. Chad Miller, Detroit Tune, DetroitTune.com.
Hello.
Or not DetroitTune.com this week, Facebook.com/Detroit Tune. We'll tell you more about that in a little bit. And as a special treat, our man Brian Dallas, our mini genius, joining us from Ride Bikes Radio, is with us tonight as well. Brian, say hi.
Hello, and I'm pretty happy that Alex is not gay too.
Well, okay.
Right.
As long as we've got that taken care of. We've got a lot of stuff. We got mini sales to talk about. Brian's actually got to drive a little bit, kind of, the Countryman. Plus, he's been able to play with all the new tech that is in the new Clubman. We're going to talk about a very interesting story about the Clubman. We're going to talk about an Ask Chad question. And I think Todd had something else, and it's not coming to my brain. But we're going to talk about all those things.
We're going to talk a little mini sales, I think.
I think I said that.
Oh, you did?
I think you're not paying attention, Brian.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. And always link
on the Disney show tunes.
And
Sorry.
always link up.
He's listening in mono, not stereo tonight. So that's, we'll give him a pass.
Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
Tell your wife to put her clothes back on and pay attention to the show.
You know what, Brian, he still links up BMW stories from other websites, not.
Oh my God, you're going to bust my nuts about that?
That is unacceptable.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I mean, we got
the only reason I put that in there is because it did call out the Cooper motor as one of the best motors that was ever designed. So from last year.
Oh, okay.
Did he get that from the Go Motoring site?
Yeah,
I hear that's the cutting edge news source.
Oh, you know what? Chad brought it up. So here we go. Everybody, this will be the 2017 Go Motoring update. GoMotoring.com is temporarily not available, and as they are changing to new content, they're still expecting to relaunch the week of December 7th. So that's only a year away. So mark those calendars yet again for the. I believe the 9th anniversary of GoMotoring.com not going live.
Wow. Pretty awesome.
It's been 9 years, hasn't it? It's been forever.
Yeah, it's been a couple.
It's not even funny anymore. It's just plain sad.
It is. But it is kind of funny.
It is kind of funny.
Yeah. I have something else to say, but I don't want to edit, so I'm editing in my brain. Because I just don't want to deal with the email from you guys, because you'll be all, DB, don't be such a hater. That's Alex's job. I'll be all, well, okay.
Dude, no.
Oh, I'm just kidding, Alex. We love you. Anyway, let's get all this party started. Before we do, of course, I want to tell you guys about one of the fine sponsors here underneath the white roof. I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Outmotoring. Outmotoring.com. You F56 owners out there among us, you're third-gen Mini Cooper owners. I don't know if you've had a chance to poke around Outmotoring.com. I was recently on Outmotoring.com searching for replacement chin spoiler for my Mini that I'm missing for the JCW body part. And I just wanted to get a price so I can put it in my brain so I know how much I need to do. But I'm poking around. You know what? Aaron has like a ton of stuff for you guys. You have 56 owners. The black grill trim, check. The red slat grill cover, check. The black grill slat cover, check. The red boot handle cover, blackjack boot handle cover. If you went F56 and it's F56 and you're looking for something kind of make your Mini a little bit cooler, you need to get over to outmotoring.com because Aaron has got you hooked up. Great prices too on all this stuff. You guys just need to go and check all these things out. Just saying. Not only that, don't forget, Aaron's like OG sponsor of Motoring File and White Roof Radio, right? He's been with us like since day one, just about. He's awesome, supporting us so he can help support you. You know, Aaron's your guy. Who among us hasn't been to a club function where one of the raffle prizes wasn't a outmotoring.com gift certificate for like a huge amount of money? Everybody's hand should be raised, right? Who did that? That's our man Aaron over at outmotoring.com, taking care of us since the good old days, since the R50 days. I'm just saying, go over there, check it out, outmotoring.com. Don't forget, when you're there, get yourself signed up for the email newsletter, because when you do, that'll give you every time you get an email from our man Aaron, you get your own 5% discount coupon code. So when you go place an order, you don't have to pay full price. You're going to save 5% just by using the coupon code you get, and it costs you your email address. Honestly, it's all you got to do. Don't forget, too, free ground shipping. Most orders over $195. Still adding just a zillion parts a month. Well, maybe not a zillion, but a lot of parts a month. I mean, everything from like your just regular parts desk kind of things to interior mods, exterior mods. Don't forget all the stuff for your person: the hats, the shoes, the jackets, the shirts, the watches, all that stuff. Don't forget, too, the nice lineup of Aston Martin parts.
Wow,
no one is reacting to it.
I couldn't get anything on Aston Martin. That's funny.
You guys don't need parts for Aston Martin?
It's because Gabe's not here. Anyway, that's our man Aaron over at Outmotoring, outmotoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and heck, Aston Martin parts. It's outmotoring.com.
Yes. Aston Martin.
Yeah, I did see that. That was funny. We can actually talk about that if you want. Our man, that was the news music we just heard, because we're going into the content portion of the show. And let's just start off with this. Todd just posted this in our Slack, and I actually saw this, and I forgot where. Our man Patrick George, we've interviewed him on the show from Jalopnik and other places, right? Big, huge card nerd. He got trolled by Motor Trend on Twitter.
For what?
Yeah.
Was it about the Super Bowl?
Alex, you need to go. No, you need to go back.
It's just 8 for MT. Go back. Okay, well, I go back.
I don't.
No, because I don't know. Like
I'm not
I was watching. I don't watch football because I don't understand a game that's called football and you play it with your hands, but it doesn't matter. Like I got like this notification that they won the Super Bowl, and then for some reason I went on Twitter and everybody was talking about Motor Trend, like they were the second coming when they were commenting on the game, and I thought maybe that was about this, but I guess it's not.
Our man Patrick George from Jalopnik got into a bit of a Twitter feud.
Where was that? Did they
Did they delete it?
Oh no! Here it is. I found it. So I'll put the link to this. I'll try to remember to put the link to this in the show notes. But Opposite Lock over on King just got it. Here, I'll put the link in our Slack channel. But basically, he got owned by Motor Trend. It's pretty sad. Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah. So it's your daily reminder. Motor Trend is the absolute F word worst. And this, I think it was during Super Bowl. And then Motor Trend says, "Are you the same person that floated us your resume via one of our editors?"
Oh my God! They called him out. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Patrick, the Camaro crashing Jalopnik writer.
Yeah, but he likes Mini, so he's still okay in our book.
I know. He's been on our show.
He's been on the show. We like Patrick George. That was just Twitter fun, because Twitter's nothing but spammers and haters trolling. Yeah, and people complaining about who knows things politics. Anyway, let's not talk about that tonight. Let's start with Mini sales for January. Because, the month is over. We're a full month into 2017. And Mini's starting off, well, not that hot.
Better than... Hey, it's not double digits.
At least it's not double digits. Mini's down 4% in sales. But that's to last year. And last year was already down quite a bit to the year prior.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And I think this was helped a little bit. Here's the thing that really stands out to me about January numbers and kind of makes you turn your head just a little bit. The Countryman a year ago had 504 sales, and this year reported 1,122. That was like more than double, right?
I have a question about that.
Yeah, and we're all going, what the? How did that happen?
How many of those cars were punched?
Yeah, I bet some.
I bet a pretty large majority. Actually.
Yeah.
So can you guys define punched for some people that might not, like, listening to the show that might not understand, like, the term?
Okay, so what happens here, and we've talked about this a little bit, and we'll re-explain it here in case you hadn't heard us, is when a dealer is sometimes offered an incentive from a manufacturer. Let's use Mini. Let's not even use Mini in this case because I don't want people to misconstrue the numbers. I'm not going to say exactly what things are. Let's say Chevrolet says to your local Joe Blow Chevrolet dealership, okay, it's getting close to the end of the month, so we're going to offer you an extra $2,000 off on every Camaro that you, and I use the quotes here, punch is what they call it, every Camaro you mark as sold as you add to your RDR list or right? That's retail.
Yes.
Sales list.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, they say, okay, hey, and the Chevrolet dealership goes, all right, well, we got like 10 of these cars, and we're going to mark them as sold, and so that when we do sell them, the Chevrolet manufacturer is going to, charge us $2,000 less per car.
Right.
We're going to make money on them. Okay.
Right.
But for Chevrolet national numbers, they go down as actual sales.
Right.
Okay. Now this is there's nothing illegal or shady going on. Well, shady maybe, but
yeah, I'd go shady.
It's just fancy. Every manufacturer does it. However, back in 2015, BMW got busted for it because they were trying to outdo Mercedes.
Right.
And at the end of the year, there was, and you just search for it, BMW Punchgate 2015. You'll find lots of articles in the automotive press about this. They're really calling it that.
I think Punchgate. That's our show title right there.
Yeah, Punchgate.
Yeah, show title.
And so BMW as a brand, and not Mini specifically, but BMW, because they were trying to outdo, and they did at the end of the year outsell Mercedes. Mercedes cried foul on it the first year last year, and they said, "Hey, listen, we only count cars that are actually burning gas and have registrations, have the cars registered." And BMW had the gall to come back and go, well, registration sometimes takes as much as 90 days. So, they pulled a little bit of White House, mumbo jumbo there. I'm not saying the truth was somewhere in the middle. Okay. The
Right.
truth was somewhere in the middle. So anyway, after this whole thing, BMW vowed, hey, we're not going to punch so many cars anymore. We're not going to offer these incentives. But they still kind of do, but they do a little bit more of an end around. So let's say Mini gets to the end of the month and like, hey, we don't want our sales to look so bad. We're going to offer extra incentives off. Like we're going to give dealers an extra $1,000 off, on these cars. Mm-hmm. If the market is sold and put them into, say, the loaner, the service loaner fleet,
right,
or whatever that is, right? So the dealers are like, great, let's. They're basically mortgaging their future of, we're gonna call these sold, and then in a month or two, when they finally sell, they don't actually show up on a list as sold, but the dealer gets to pocket an extra $1,000
right,
because they're paying less for the car.
Right.
Pretty simple. I mean, I think I explained that.
Yeah.
Simplistically as I can.
Right.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
this happens most months to help pad numbers. Well, they're doing less of this now. They're not getting so punch drunk, if you will, punch happy. And this is all public information. I'm not saying anything inside baseball here because this, what I'm saying, is all readily available in the automotive press, and BMW basically has said this publicly, that they're not going to do so much of this anymore, right? They didn't say they weren't going to do it at all. They just said they were cutting back. This also trickles down to Mini. However, they still do, which kind of pads the numbers. So that brings up the question, how did they sell twice as many Countrymen this year as they did a year ago? Nothing about the car
in one month. And I don't know about you guys, I haven't seen any extras on the road.
Me neither.
No, there aren't any extras on the road.
Yeah, I'm thinking they got punched, dude.
Todd, you mentioned that Barron's is already out of R60s. Is that right?
I think they've got just a couple left. Literally, I think there's only two new Countrymen left on our lot, 2 or 3 tops, and those may even be service loaners, as far as I know. I know that they're pretty much out of new ones, and I know that because I put stripes on one just yesterday, and they're like, "Yeah, this is the last Highlands they got. They got in half a dozen of those, and they sold the last Highlands edition." And they're like, "No, I think there's only 1 or 2 left." So, anyway, that's what it is. So down 4% on paper here, and I'm saying it could have been as bad as down 11%.
Right.
If you kind of estimate the number of cars that were punched or potentially punched at the end of January.
Right.
All right. Not a big deal because we're on the cusp of the new Countryman coming out this month. In fact, I mean, Brian got a chance. You guys got one there in Seattle, and you got a chance to drive it today, right?
Absolutely. We actually had one. It's kind of a funny story, is that we had started building this car for a customer because we had some build slots started to show up in the early December, and we started building it and got it partially done. The customer backed out, and we went back in to fix it, so that we didn't have this sort of dysfunctional model, and it had already gone into what we call 150 status, which means it had already gotten the chassis number, and it had already started into production, which means we couldn't change it at that point. So that car showed up at the port early January, maybe like the 10th or 12th, which is kind of surprising. We were kind of watching it, figuring that Mini was just going to lock it down until closer to launch date. And then last week we heard, nope, they're going to release them all, and they're going to start sending them out. And I think Prestige on the East Coast got one right away.
Popping up on Facebook pages all over the country today.
And then we got ours yesterday morning. I think it showed up, and then it went in, got PDI'd, and we haven't even sent it to detail yet. So, but we're not allowed to sell it until March.
But here's my question is, so this is basically just your demo
weird.
That people can look at and buy, because technically you don't have a Monroney sticker for this car, right?
Exactly. Well, there is one on it, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because this brings us to the next question. We're just going to keep driving through this. Is I asked, and we had this discussion on Slack between us gentlemen here at White Roof Radio last week about MPG numbers for the new Countryman. I don't think they've officially been released for the U.S.
Yeah, I have something.
Right?
I don't think they will ever release them.
I don't think they ever will either. I think they're going to keep that locked.
And you want to know what's really funny? Is I direct messaged Mini USA on Twitter, right? And I usually get a reply back because, I know who's running Mini USA Twitter, and they know me. We've chatted, we've had beers, right? And I usually get a reply. It might take a day or two, but I always get a reply. You know what I didn't get a reply on? When I asked why the MPG numbers for the Countryman are not miniusa.com.
But guess what else isn't at miniusa.com?
Oh, what's
there
that?
aren't MPG numbers for any vehicle that Mini sells right now. You can't go to miniusa.com and build a car or get information on the car. You can't find MPG numbers for any of the vehicles.
I wonder why that is.
But
That seems sketchy to me.
But it doesn't matter because nobody cares anymore. Like, people don't care anymore.
See, Alex, you bring up a good point, because it's got to be a conscious marketing decision to say nobody comes here and looks for that anymore. Because truthfully, in my mind, I'm like, is it really that big of a deal? Because all I had to do was type into Google, 2016 Mini or 2017 Mini Cooper MPG, and it comes right up. It tells you exactly, what it is. However, I just wanted to go, are those the European numbers for the Countryman, or have they been released and we didn't get it? Because I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh, that's cool how Google just puts it right there on the screen.
Exactly.
Well, I'm sure that they can track everything on their website, where people are going and what people are doing. If no one's ever clicking MPG, then why put it there? Why make it? Why spend all that time? So if people are just going there to build cars, then make the builder really good.
But you got to admit, it's a shift in marketing, because even back in 2000, from the R56 when it came out, that was part of the big push. Is, hey, this car gets 37 miles to the gallon or 39 miles to the gallon. And there were big stickers on the car that were actually from Mini that they put on showrooms, and it was a big deal. And then it became less of a deal and less of a deal and less of a deal. And I want to know, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
So,
did people stop caring about MPG, or did Mini get burned because they stated it?
I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of both, Todd. So I think that because Mini got burned, they're just kind of going, well, let's just not tell, just in case. And then I think the other thing is people are going, well, it gets at least 35 miles to the gallon. I'm in. Every car gets roughly the same. Every car in this class gets roughly the same mile per gallon anyway. So. Just like, oh, what do you get? 37? What do you get? 38? What do you get? 39? Oh, well, it's all close enough.
Yeah,
it's not like they're going,
really, like, what people are going to be looking at is like,
it's not like
a
they're cross shopping,
or is it like an electric car?
It's not like they're cross shopping a Mini Cooper base car with a Mazda 3, because if they would, then MPG would be a huge deal, because the Mazda 3 gets less than 30 miles per gallon on the highway, whereas the Mini gets 39. So obviously, they're within that niche, that little small car niche, all the cars get roughly the same miles per gallon.
So Todd, to your point about the Google search, like it's the numbers that you get on the Google results, like depending on where you are, it's going to show you those numbers for the country, right? So it tracks your location,
right,
and it knows that it's for you. So the numbers that I'm looking at right now are U.S. numbers. I'm wondering though if having that kind of information on the website is not. Is it not like legally mandatory to show that information on the website on a car that you sell?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it's only
not.
it's only required on the Monroney sticker.
Yeah, it's only required on the car itself, not on the actual, sales
marketing
stuff
material.
And things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean that would be kind of like cutting your own throat if you didn't actually do it. But I haven't looked at a car for gas mileage in 98.
Right.
Yeah, it's also deceiving because you can say, look at how many different cars the Mini has. Everything from a Cooper automatic to a JCW Clubman, for example. The disparity in mileage it's all over the board. It's different by 5-6 miles to the gallon. So what number do you tout? And I'm kind of like, well, you put it in when you go to build the car. And I even went into Mini USA and built a car, printed out the final PDF. Nowhere in there did it tell me what kind of mileage this car gets. And so I'm kind of like, I kind of want to know, but like I said, a quick Google search will tell me that information. But I just want to know what are the marketing points for why they withhold this information. And like I said, it is a conscious effort to not put this on the site. I haven't checked other car companies to go, hey, want to buy a new Camaro? What's the MPG on a new Camaro? I don't know if Chevrolet shows that, or a new Cadillac. Did they list it on that, or whatever? So I just don't know.
Yeah, if you do that mile per gallon search on Google.com, it is for the United States numbers because I just did it at google.co.uk, and when you do that, it comes up and it says that the MPG is 42 to 83 MPG combined.
Yeah,
because they get the diesel.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and the list price starts at $13,650, but curly Q L backward $$ pound sign.
Right.
So
It's the euro.
yeah,
Oh no, sorry.
That's the pound sign, Alex.
What is it going to be after Brexit? Wait, still get British pound sterling, right?
Yeah, it was always a sterling. Like it never switched to the euro, which.
But hey, the great thing is now we don't have to do math anymore. It's pretty much 1-to-1 for U.S. dollars.
Right.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, guys.
If we could get back to sales just a second, and then I'm going to let Brian continue talking, is I thought the numbers here were interesting, is for all the car brands that Matt listed in his mini index that were down in sales, Mini, Fiat, Smart, obviously. I don't know how they're still selling cars to begin with, but I think the numbers going to be interesting to see is for February, the numbers for Fiat, the numbers for February and March, especially after the Super Bowl. Because I think the Super Bowl ads for what freaking car was it? Super Bowl, that really pretty car.
Yeah. Alpha had an ad.
The Alpha ad, and I think that's going to drive foot traffic to the Fiat dealers.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm just guessing. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with that number.
Yeah, that Giulietta is amazing. I totally want it.
It is, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
It isn't-
Yeah. Let's not
It
talk.
probably doesn't work really well.
Probably
You
not.
might as-
It's because
might
it's
as
an
well go
Alpha.
M3, right?
What's that, Todd?
You might as well go buy an M3. An
Right?
M4.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's actually less expensive, the M3.
And
Yeah.
they almost look the same, but man, that Alpha was pretty.
It's a good car.
Brian, tell us about the Countryman.
Well, obviously you guys saw that I got a chance to drive it today. And my initial thoughts were, well, when I first sat in it before I even pulled away, it felt much. I'd say and I'm going to try to explain this so that we can all visualize what I'm talking about, but it kind of felt like the interior of an R60, but just sort of ballooned out a little bit more. Like you literally felt like you were still sitting in an R60, but with more space. Like you had more space to do what you wanted to do.
And can we stop here first for a second and let them know, Brian, for people who don't know, you drove a Countryman for a number of years, and a very well-equipped Cooper-S Countryman.
R60.
Yeah, I actually own two, and then Sammy owned two. So between the two of us, we've had 4 Countrymans.
So as far as baseline goes, and then you can continue on your story, you have a great familiarity with the previous generation Countryman, the R60, right? And so
Absolutely. Yeah.
everything I just want to encourage you that as you go, compare this new one, the little experience you've got, to the ones that you owned.
Yeah. So the way that it's set up, I mean, ergonomically we've got the F-Series stuff on the inside. I found the dash near the climate control and all that area. There's a lot of just sort of empty space. And Todd, because you're a design guy, you're gonna key in on that a little bit when you see this car and you start driving. You're gonna go, we got a lot of extra stuff here, and there's a lot of space inside of the car. But then, in order to fill it, they needed to make other things bigger, and they didn't. It's just kind of it felt weird. Now, driving the car was totally different. It was the biggest complaint I had about the R60 was that it always felt a bit top heavy. Mm-hmm. And it always felt like you get a little bit of body roll with that thing because of that very small sway bar that's in that car stock wise, is that car feels like it's very top heavy. In this car, you don't get that at all. I mean, it feels very planted, very secure, and it feels like like you could roll over anything.
Well, and part of that, it's got a longer wheelbase and a wider track also.
Wider track, sure, and heavier too. So you've got all that going on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I did get on it a little bit, even in mid mode and in sport mode, just to make sure that power to weight ratio was adequate, and I think it is. I mean, we have to remember that this car is really not going to be taken to the track. It's not going to be one of those situations where we're going to need that extra power. And I think that it's appropriate for what you're going to get. It's definitely going to pull in that crossover market that Mini is targeting right now. And this evening I got to ride in the back of it. Somebody was driving. I got to ride in the back, and it was very comfortable, much more comfortable than in the back of a Clubman.
Nice.
There's a lot of space back here.
Yeah, I found it extremely roomy, and I sat in the back of one with a driver in the front seat, and I still had at least 2-3 inches before my knees even touched the front seat.
And Brian, just for everybody, if everybody knows, you're a big guy like the rest of us. You're tall, and you take up a lot of space. You're a tall drink of water. You got to stretch your shit out. So that says a lot that you had plenty of space in the back seat.
Plenty of space in the back. Little teeny things that they kind of paid attention to, and Todd's going to probably talk about this as far as survey stuff comes back. But obviously, the turn signal stock,
right?
It locks down, when you go to turn, which is something that we've all grown up with over the years. But, as Mini owners, that thing always returned to center before, and now it doesn't.
Unless you're like Chad, who's still driving an R53, and Chad's like, it's never changed for me.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
I love it. Yeah. I've sat in a lot of different cars. I've seen all of the new cars throughout the years. While I haven't, quote unquote, upgraded to any of the newer cars, I've always thought that the Countryman always had tons of room in the back seats overall. Yeah. I'm not, super tall, super big, I'm just kind of a normal average height, and it's always been plenty of room for me. But I also didn't like necessarily driving those cars because they also felt a little more cramped in the driver's compartment for myself.
Yeah.
So I like the two-door cars better overall.
Yeah, you're not going to feel that sensation. Much of it is like when we talked about this a few shows ago, we were kind of comparing the F55 and F56 and how you feel spatially when you're sitting in the driver's seat. Like you feel kind of cramped when you're in the 4-door. Right. But when you're sitting in the 2-door, you kind of feel like you got a little bit of room to kind of move around. That's sort of how it is with the Countryman, is that when you're in the driver's seat, you've got space to be comfortable. And it feels, you've got lots of great vision everywhere. There's no discernible obvious blind spots that make the car, handicapped in any way. The other thing I kind of noticed, these little teeny things, is that like the seatbelt, the buckle for the seatbelt was always this sort of, I don't want to say cheap, but singular sided clip, right? Yeah. And now it's got some girth to it. So when you reach back to grab it, you're grabbing a hold of something that, feels good. And then when you lock it in, it's locked in. So it's just these little teeny things that make the car feel a little more grown up, I guess you could say, and fit into that demographic like I was talking about. This one in particular does not have any tech in it. So it's got a 6.5-inch visual boost. So the HK sounds like HK. Tight and good as always.
Nice.
The headlights, I think you guys are going to be impressed with the headlights. The cornering lights are better than even in the F cars.
Cool.
There's a little bit more. They've added another reflector inside of that headlight that creates a little bit better broadcast of headlight, light coming off the front of the headlight itself.
Okay.
It's got big taillights like the F cars all do, which we all love and hate.
I hate them. I don't love them at all.
Yeah, I was being facetious when I said love them.
You know what? You know when I like the rear taillights on the F cars from about a quarter mile back, and then all of a sudden you get up on your, oh my god, those things are huge.
You know what though? Here's a way to love the taillights on the F cars, and it's a very simple fix, and that's to put the black rings on.
Yes.
I had my car sitting next to another a brand new F56, and I have the black taillight rings on mine, and I got a bright red car, but chili red, so they really stand out. And I looked at the two cars and I said, visually, my taillights look smaller than they do on the car with the chrome rings.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty inexpensive thing to do. You can do it yourself. Just go buy the rings from your dealer. They sell them in gloss black, and they look fantastic. And they really do shrink down the size of those giant taillights.
Nice.
And there's when in comparison to say the Clubman, because when we launched the Clubman, or when Mini launched the Clubman, there weren't a lot of accessories right out of the box. It was a kind of like a catch-up game for Mini to get headlight rings and some of the other things that were already readily available on the other earlier F cars. On the Countryman, I mean, before these cars even hit the lot, they've already got blackout rings ready to go.
Just for the front.
Just in the front, not in the back yet. But I mean, at least that's ready to go, and there's a lot of other things. Now, here's one thing that they did pretty smartly. I tested out, we've all looked at the racks on the roof, right? And we're kind of like, oh, great, they're going to create another set of crossbars for those, that somebody's going to have to buy if they trade in their old country, whatever.
Right.
The F54, the Clubman crossbars fit on the new Countryman.
Nice.
Yeah. They fit perfectly. So
it's good.
And
it's excellent for dealer inventory too, because they don't have to stock up on a bunch of extra crossbars. They've got the same ones in stock. So
I imagine dealers are going to appreciate that. But I have to say, when I saw this Countryman with 100 and some other people, I talked to a lot of people and wanted to know their opinions on it. And the universal opinion was that the roof rails on this car are ginormous. They're like, they have to be so big. And the other question was people asking the dealer, can I order my Countryman without those roof rails because they're so large?
Yeah.
So I smell an upgrade for the mid-cycle refresh of the Countryman.
I think you're right. You know what? I think they would be better if they made them black.
Yeah, I think that would solve.
If they were black, they would have been way better.
Yeah.
So
all right, a little bit of electrical tape. Take care of that.
I'm kind of surprised by what Brian is saying about the power. I would think that it would seem a little bit underpowered given the weight, and that the engine is really the same as what you have in the F56 and the rest of the lineup.
You're saying, Alex, given that the car weighs almost 1,000 more than yours.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be frank. Like the S is, I mean, it's not. Well, I guess I'm biased because now I'm driving JCW, but the S really you have to push it to feel like it's a quick car, right?
Well, okay, so let's compare it to this, Alex. So have you driven a Cooper?
No, I've not. Actually, yes, I did. I drove Todd's Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you drove a Cooper F56 and then you drove an S F56, that power difference would be very similar to how the S in the Countryman feels. Like it's got just enough to get going. If you want more, chip it, put in a dyno, put in something else, and then you're going to get that well balanced feel with that extra weight. You're going to get the right power to weight ratio. So
okay. Interesting.
And then we kind of heard that there may be some JCWs going into production in March.
Well, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
We're hoping that'll be the new car we're going to love to hate, because on our Slack channel earlier today, we were guessing that car's going to come in at like $50,000.
Okay, we got to decide, like, what are we going to buy? What are we buying for $50,000?
That'll be the next show. That's going to be the next show. We're going to do a little White Roof Radio challenge and see who can come up with, see what we can buy for $50,000. That's not a Mini Cooper.
I think what we have to do is we have to wait until the configurator you can't configure.
I don't think you can do a JCW.
No, you can't configure it yet.
As soon
they
as
are in the order bank, but you can't configure it yet.
Yeah, as soon as it's configurable, which should be sometime soon, I guess in the next month or so.
Right.
As soon as that's configurable, I think that's our challenge to do the shows. We all build a JCW Countryman and go, here's our baseline.
Right.
What else can we buy for that money? That's going to be the challenge.
Oh, that would be a great show.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because another thing that came out today, by the way, because we're talking about a high performance SUV, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say high performance SUV, I think of X5M,
No,
X6M.
I think of what was it? The Dodge just announced today with
SRT, the SRT Durango.
The SRT Durango does 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds.
Oh yeah.
And then you end up in a wall.
Yeah, 4.4 seconds. But you can't turn. If you try and turn, the car's going to roll.
Yeah, and you're gonna die.
They call it the most powerful family sedan ever.
It's just going to get you to the kid drop-off that much faster at elementary school.
The X6M does 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, by the way.
Yeah, in fact, if you wanted to see this car, you're going to see it at the Chicago Auto Show. It's a 6-passenger Dodge Durango.
The thing is, with the X6M,
really
you need to be a nightclub owner or a drug dealer to buy one.
Right, you have to have
Otherwise, you don't qualify.
It starts at like 105 or 115 grand for an X6M.
Yikes. The SRT, 475 horsepower, 470 foot-pounds of torque. Yikes. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
That's a discussion. We're putting a pin in the...
We're going to put a pin in the SRT Durango discussion. We'll save that for the Shuttlecast or something. The approximate MSRP on this, just in case anybody's wondering, you've got your eye on one. It's about 70 grand according to Car and Driver.
For the Durango?
For the SRT Durango, yeah.
They aren't calling it an SRT, SRT Durango. And it's funny because how many things have they made an SRT8? Like I think the most affordable one now is the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8.
Right.
Which is, by the way, if you've ever been around one of these.
I have. My guy here in Arizona has one. Or had one. He sounds
so amazing. It is one of the best sounding things.
And it's fast. That thing does a quarter mile in less than 14 seconds.
It's insane. It's
a freaking Jeep with a Hemi motor. I don't know what 0-60 is, but it does the quarter mile in less than 14 seconds for a Jeep.
They put the SRT like the Charger motor in it. It's like a police Charger is what it is.
It's insane. It's insane. This is going to be an insane car, and it's going to end up in the wall after Cars and Coffee. Alex is right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's always what happens, along with the Mustangs.
Along with the Mustangs. And the M4s, as it were.
Yeah. Oh my God, people! I mean, they see those videos like on Jalopnik like every single week, and they continue to crash their Mustangs like into people.
Yeah,
they haven't killed anyone really. They're glad. I mean, that's a good thing, but they continue to crash their Mustangs. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, good times. Good times. Really quick, I want to remind you guys here, if you look at your podcasting app and you see that really pretty picture of that very nice red Mini Cooper Roadster Coupe. Coupe, Roadster Coupe, Mini Cooper Coupe S. That's posted by our man Rick Roberts. Been listening to the show for a long time. Posted that up over the Patreon page at patreon.com/White Roof Radio. And you know what? He shared it with me. I'm sharing it with you guys. It's a really pretty car. Chili red on the Coupe was just awesome. Sorry,
but just go sign up. Just go give 50 cents a show.
Give 50
over
cents
at
a show. And you know what else? If you go over to the Patreon page and you kick in 50 cents a show, you know what else you're going to get access to? Black Roof Radio. Sometimes it might be Black Roof. This week it's not quite Black Roof Radio, but you're getting like the pre-show chitter chatter stuff that doesn't make it to the show. I'm just putting it up there for you guys. You guys get that because it's kind of fun. It's inside baseball stuff. Go over there, check it out. Patreon.com/White Roof Radio.
Moonwalk Gray Roof Radio this week.
It's Great Roof Radio. Yeah.
Moonwalk Gray. I'm thinking that's another domain name I have to buy. Great, Todd. Thanks. Hang on.
I just renewed Black Roof Radio, by the way.
Good job. Thank you. Moving on. We kind of already talked about this, and that's mini betting on the bigger Countryman to win back sales because it's not that the Countryman's huge, but that's the car that's selling, that Honda CR-V, the Toyota RAV4, the Volkswagen version of that mid-size SUV. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting one of those cars anymore. Have you guys noticed this?
Yeah. You really can't. And in the U.S.,
no.
that's the driving market for all car sales. And last year, in 2016, was a record year of sales for cars in the U.S., which was like 8 million cars. I think it was 7.9 some million cars sold in the U.S. last year, right?
Right.
And I think a majority of those were probably trucks and crossover / SUVs, okay?
Right.
Which, when we look at mini sales, and this is something I want to go back and just touch on here because it follows up with this story, is did anybody notice for the last, I just went back 5 months running, back to September of last year.
Okay.
And we've talked about this, and I'm just going to hit it home again because it's consistent, is starting in September last year, minis with 4 doors made up 72% of sales in September.
Okay.
In October, minis with 4 doors made up 70% of sales.
Okay.
November, 70%. December dropped down to 69%, but then January is back up over 70%.
Wow.
So you look at it and you said, of course, mini marketing is really going to push the Countryman this year, the Countryman and the Clubman,
Right.
because 70% of their sales is coming from those cars with 4 doors.
Right.
Yeah.
And the 4-door hardtop is dropping. It's starting to become, it used to be up there, and then now it's starting to.
Yeah,
to
the sales have dropped off on that car just a bit.
Well, and people
Yeah.
are saying, "Hey, I bet the Clubman's taken away from them," and it is.
Yeah. Well, it's because that
Well,
four-door
hey, Todd,
hardtop's
the other
ugly.
reason too. The other reason too is that Mini was only pushing incentive programs on everything but the F57 and the F56.
Right.
So all those other cars had incentives on them, customer cash and whatnot. So that was definitely going to push more 4-door sales. Plus, end of life for the Countryman, with some of those cars, a couple of $1,000s off, is going to be a big motivator for people to get 4 doors.
Well, and I just want to say this also is when you do the math, like in the reported sales for January, 656 cars were hardtops, were Cooper and Cooper S hardtops. Okay, that is only about 5 or 6 per dealer per month.
Right.
Right. And that
Yeah.
just makes me sad. It makes all of us sad because we're all fans of the hardtop. It's what got us started and went into this brand.
Yeah.
But it's a little scary. My prediction is, I'm going to say this right now here at the beginning of the year, by the end of this year, I predict that the 4-door minis are going to exceed 80%. It will be just over 80%.
That wouldn't surprise me
Yeah.
even a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Yeah, and you know what? No number's going to be interesting to watch, and I'm not kidding. Is the Clubman number is going to be interesting to watch how many of those sell, because if that car sells as well as we all think it's going to sell, and we think it's going to sell with gangbusters, that's going to
I mean,
prove
the Countryman.
no the Clubman.
The Clubman, the extra Clubman.
The Clubman. I'm keeping an eye on the Clubman numbers because if that car sells
Okay.
gangbusters like I think it's going to, that's going to show everybody that people in the United States still kind of want a station wagon.
It kind of does, and DB, I think you might be right. It's a prediction I've heard from other people who say the Countryman is going to get a lot of people in the doors at mini dealerships.
Yep.
And it's more expensive. It's more expensive, but they're going to get in and they're going to sit in it, and they're going to go across the showroom and they're going to get in, sit in the Clubman, and they're going to go drive it and go, wow, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
This feels a little bit more like a luxury sedan. The Countryman feels a little bit more like an SUV.
Right.
I mean, they're both basically the same interiors.
Yeah, but from what Gabe has told us about the Clubman, from what Charlie said about the Clubman on the Motor Trend podcast during Mini Takes the Stage, from everything I've heard about the Clubman is a great driving car.
And
right?
sales to be bearing that out. I mean, they sold 588
last month.
Almost as many Clubman as they sold hardtops. That has never happened.
That's never happened. The Clubman
except maybe the year it came out in 2009.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2017 for sales.
Yeah. Here's a thought for you too, DB. Right in on that is we have 29 service loaners, right?
Wow.
And 25 of them are Clubmans.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's going to sell. That's going to sell a few cars.
And one of them is a JCW hardtop.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
What mini dealer is this again? I gotta get an oil change. Hang on.
Oh my God.
Whose name do I have to mention when I call that dealership to get that as my loaner for my oil change for the day?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wow.
I was a little
I wonder
shocked
if,
when I saw that one.
I wonder if dealers receive guidance from Mini USA to have loaners be a specific range of models.
No, not like BMW does. So
Well, we categorize certain for we allocate certain whatever ins our pipeline for service loaners. But yeah, I don't know who punched that list to put the JCW in there.
Wow. So we need to get the R50 in for an oil change and get the JCW Clubman as a loaner.
Yeah, well, I'm not bringing it back if I get it as a loaner.
Yeah, exactly. Just drive off with it.
Because I don't think Mini doesn't have the policy like BMW has. So if you bring in like an X6 or if you bring in a nice car,
You get an X6.
yeah, an M3 or whatever, they're going to give you as nice a car or nicer to drive, as a loaner car. Now, most of the 7 Series, and we talked about this, like the new 7 Series, you're supposed to get a 7 Series as a loaner. But I got to say, most of those people buying the new 7 Series do not bring their own cars in for service. the dealer goes and picks them up,
Right.
and they service them, and they take them back to them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when you're paying $120,000 for a car.
Yeah.
That's what
You've
get.
got an in-depth personal relationship with your sales advisor. When
Your
you're
va- with your valet. is
No,
what it
when you
is.
get into 7 Series, I only know this because I've known somebody who was always on 7 Series, and that person's calling. They're having little chats once a month. Hey, how's everything? They're not calling to sell a car. They're calling just to say hi.
They create.
Yep.
Right, there's a serious relationship going on with the 7 Series owner and their sales advisor, because that sales advisor, I mean, it's in the Rolodex, and they just do a little touch once a month. Hey, want to get some coffee? Everything good? You need anything? And just that's what they do because you're spending that kind of money on a car.
I'd be curious, Brian. How many manual transmission cars do you have in the loaner fleet out there? Very many.
Exact numbers,
0.
please. Exact. Ooh,
Zero.
Zero.
Zero. Boom.
1. No.
That's expected.
We usually end up with there's usually 1 or 2 in the loaner rotation here, but it's funny because those are the ones they give out the last, because a lot of people come in, and it's sometimes a demeaning question to ask. Can you drive a stick?
Yeah.
Okay. So unless you go
Can you drive a
notice,
stick?
hey, I'm driving a manual transmission, they're like, oh, we've got a manual for you, and they give you a Cooper S manual, because my lady friend took the Roadster in recently for that. And they're like, oh, good. We can finally give somebody a manual loaner. So,
How did you like it, by the
come
way,
on.
the manual loaner?
Loved it. In fact, it was a Clubman.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
It's been a while
on,
since you
I
guys
mean,
have bought a
you-
car.
Yeah.
Alex, don't.
Yeah,
just
we're
don't.
thinking about what to buy next now, Alex. Right?
Oh my
I
god!
thought you're saving
That's
it for a
everything.
Countryman, but let's move on.
Yeah.
I want to, Brian. You had one other thing. Go ahead. Go quick.
Well, I was just going to say, between Alex, Todd, and myself, there isn't a person on the planet we can't teach how to drive manuals in our cars.
Oh, I've taught people how to drive manual.
It is the easiest. No, but in the F cars, it is the easiest manual transmission to learn how to
Oh,
drive.
okay.
By
Good.
far.
All right.
It really is, because you can't really kill the car. You start
Can't kill it. Yeah, you just
the
can't.
clutch, and it starts itself.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Not
pretty
like
Anyway, go ahead,
not like back in the old days when we all had to learn on Volkswagen Beetles or
Yeah,
whatever.
Where you have to start with like 6,000 RPM and then
Yeah.
Well, and
slowly pull it out. Yeah.
And Alex, you were the one that posted the article last week from BMW marketing or BMW PR people, who basically said publicly, if you want to save the manual transmission, if the enthusiasts want to save it, they need to start buying more of them, because BMW is selling like less than 10% now, and that is going to be the death of the manual transmission in cars. And Mini is really it sells more than I think any other brand, with the exception of VW in the US.
Mhm.
Right?
I agree.
But
Yeah, I mean, I think it was. I think you're right. I think it was an article from Roundel, and it was an interview of a guy that used to be on the BMW marketing team, or the BMW PR team, and yeah, he said exactly what you said. I gotta say though, like I don't think. Again, I think we had this debate before, but I think like the manual transmission on the Mini used to be better. Like I find it like way too light, even on BMWs. I find the clutch way too light. Compared to, I don't know if any of you have driven like one of the most recent Porsches with the manual transmission that they have. Oh my god, this is the best transmission I've ever driven, ever,
Well,
by
really?
far.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Very good. You know, that's odd you're talking about transmissions. I'd like to move on from news if we could. And I'd like to do a little bit of Ask Chad. Chad, are you still with us?
I am here.
Our good man, Ask Chad from Detroit Tune, DetroitTune.com, the hot new shop, and the cool Facebook page that's got some really cool Detroit Tuned art. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We got an interesting question into the White Roof Radio Ask Chad inbox this week by our man Dick David, big Mini fan down in Dallas. He listens to the show probably since like the very beginning. He's a nice guy. He had to get a clutch replacement in his R50. So he emailed over with the quote that his dealer gave him for the clutch replacement. And holy cow, it was a lot of money. So, of course, Chad got back to him. But, Chad, if someone has to get a big major repair done like that on their car, like and you drive a manual transmission car, you're going to eventually need a clutch unless you sell the car, obviously. And I would consider that to be, it's a wear and tear item, but it's still a repair that has to be done. Not really one that most people can tackle in the driveway. What are your recommendations when you're like, if you're trying to get that job, the price of that job, trying to figure out how much it's actually going to cost?
Well, I mean, you definitely want to shop around a little bit. I mean, while the dealers can definitely do it, and they can, hopefully do it well, I mean, they are going to be at the top end of that that price range. So you want to think about the area you live in, think about all of the various forums that you're at, talk to those people, talk to the local clubs. And when you're in a major area, whether it's SoCal Minis or Metroplex Minis or DC Metro Minis or whoever, somebody in that club is going to know where to go, and they're going to be able to point you in the right direction. Now, there are going to be pros and cons to the dealer doing it and not having a dealer doing it, but $1,500 in your pocket, that's nothing to joke about. So
no, that's real money.
That's real money. You can buy a whole car for that.
Yeah, you can. I'm not going to call the dealer up by name, but his quote from the dealer to have an R50 clutch replaced was $3,800. $3,800 just to do the clutch job.
That's pretty standard for any dealer, really. I mean, that's their book time, that's their part price and stuff, and that. Yeah. It doesn't matter, we don't have to call anybody out. That's the dealer price, and that's where they make their money. I mean, they've got, their own accountants. They've got their own departments. They've got a huge conglomeration that they have to pay for.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a really good point, Chad.
That's where they pay for it. So I'm not, digging on the dealers because of their, that, but you could definitely find it cheaper by going to somebody else. And, a small shop like myself or whoever, we've got 5-10 people at the shop, at maximum. And, we don't have to pay an accountant full time. We don't have to pay all these things. I mean, we still have insurance, but probably not as much as they do.
You don't have all that inventory that has to be paid for, all that glass that has to be cleaned.
We have a little bit less overall expense, so we can charge a little bit less. That helps save everybody money.
Right.
And in all reality, that particular job should run you somewhere around that $1,500 to $1,800-$1,900 mark, maybe a little bit more, but that's average.
My guy here in Arizona says it's usually right about now is going for about $2,200, and I thought that sounded a little bit more reasonable than $3,800. But
an early R50 is super simple. I mean, it's a very easy process. It's a lightweight transmission. Everything unbolts really simple. You don't have to have any special fasteners or really anything. I mean, that...
You're not saying it's a DIY project, though, Chad, right?
Well, no. I get calls all day long, every day, like, oh, I can do this, right? I was like, well, I don't know. It's like, well, I'm an engineer. I was like, well, no, you can't do it then. But
look at Chad making engineer jokes.
It is doable. Yeah, I mean, if you're kind of handy with a wrench and you can, cut a piece of wood without cutting your thumb off, I mean, yeah, you could probably do this. A good manual and you can follow directions. Yes, it's very easy. The problem is there's a lot of steps and there's a lot of tools and there's a lot of things. And while it takes most people that 6 to 8 hours to do a clutch, it's going to take you all weekend. Yeah. So do you want to give up your entire weekend and maybe your wife gets pissed at you because you've spent all weekend in your car and you didn't get to spend any time with her and now it's Monday again and you have to go back to work?
Right.
Or do you want to just pay somebody and everything is so much easier? There's always tips and tricks that any shop, no matter who it is, will do to lubricate the moving pieces in your transmission that you wouldn't even think about, because you're just pulling the clutch out, putting the clutch in, and done. So there are advantages of using a shop that, there are things that we don't even pay, make you pay for, that we just do because we know it needs to get done. So
it's all about lubrication.
Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, if you're pressing on it and it's moving, it needs to be lubricated.
I got to write that one down.
Right?
All about the lube.
Wow. So I guess this week's top tip is, if you do need one of those major repairs, any repair actually, and you're one that usually gets work done at the dealer, and that's all well and good. I mean, on Roxy, I had the bulk of the work done on that car forever was done at the dealer, and after that it was always done by my guy in Arizona who's a certified mini tech anyway, so I was always a certified technician that worked on it, and I ended up saving a lot of money by having my local guy work on it versus the dealer. So if you can find somebody really good local, like a Chad or a Jerry or a Way or a Marzo or whoever, right, then get a quote from them and then get a quote from the dealer and see who's give you the better price and see, compare work.
one of the things he had put in the email is like, the dealer's right across the street from where I work. I can walk there on my lunch hour. I can go there and I can get my oil change done. And yeah, he's spending $25 more on an oil change at the dealer. But you know what? That $25 for the convenience makes a lot of sense because it's an oil change.
Sure.
But you're now paying an extra $1,500 for a clutch for the convenience. That's where you kind of got to go, you know what? I think I can probably be a little bit more inconvenienced and save myself $1,000 and go on a Aruba vacation or whatever.
Pay for 6 months of Uber.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be probably all of your car insurance for the year,
right?
Or anything like that. So I mean, there are some serious benefits to going to an aftermarket. And again, you have to find the right people. You have to trust them, and they have to be an honest shop and tell you like it is. And then we get those people that are like, well, this didn't get fixed. It's like, well, you didn't fix everything. You only wanted to do these two things because that's what your budget. We'll fix the rest later.
Right.
That's why you still have this noise. And no, it's not going to die. You're not going to, be hurt. It's not going to do anything. It's just a noise.
Yeah.
But you have to be ready for these things. And that's the long-term thing that people don't realize sometimes about the Mini is they require maintenance, and you have to do it more often, and you have to do it, and keep it up, or otherwise it will go downhill fast. So.
And that's also one of the nice things about using a local guy like a Chad or a Jerry or a Waylon or whoever, is that they'll remember the history of your car. So you could come to Chad and your car's pretty beat up. Let's say you couldn't do any work on it for a whole year because you were basically unemployed. And you get a Chad and you take it into him, and he charges you a fair price just to look through the whole car and come up with a really solid punch list of repairs, prioritize them so that you can budget them out, and then do them in order as money allows. Right? A dealer's not going to do that for you. Chad's going to do that for you. Your local guy, if you find a good local guy, will actually do that for you. It's like, okay, I need the clutch done, but how much of the clutch do I actually need to get done? I can't afford all those parts. Do all of them need to be replaced right now? The guy's going to say, yeah, you got to do it all. Okay, great. But you also need motor mounts, and you need an oil change, and you need front end alignment, and you need, and then your local guy will be able to create that punch list for you, and you'll get better service.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've been seeing some more shops start up as of late. There's a new one going in Nashville area that they've been doing, and I've been seeing the money that they're spending doing it, and I'm kind of going, wow, here's the Mini cycle has really gone for years. Is it ready for the next step of the Mini tuners or the Mini shops, and is that the best model to go into? And I've seen other guys start smaller and get into things just recently. There's a lot of shops that are popping up around the country that are doing Mini specific things because they realize that there is a need,
right,
and that people are needing these type of services. And I get the phone call. It's like, oh, well, you're all the way across town now. You just moved. I was like, yeah, it's maybe a 15, 20-minute drive. I had a customer from Cincinnati yesterday. He's got a 5-hour drive. And they're like, oh, well, that is a little bit different. So, if you've got to drive or somehow get your car to somebody that's 30 minutes, an hour away because you're outside Cleveland and there's a guy in Akron that can do this, it could be well worth your time because that guy really knows what he's doing versus somebody else. It's like, well, yeah, we could put a clutch in a front wheel drive car. Does
Right.
that make you feel comfortable? So those are things to think about.
There you go. And now would be a really good time for me to remind you about the Detroit Tune Facebook page. And that's at facebook.com/Detroit Tune. Just search Detroit Tune to Facebook. You guys already like the page anyway, but in case you have missed it, I want you to go over there because Chad is coming up with an idea for new art on the new Detroit Tune T-shirts. He's got two choices. I need you to vote for these. One is a scroll and crossbones of the guy chewing on the skull chewing on a wrench with Chad's glasses, which is actually really kind of cool.
Likeness.
Chad's likeness in skull form. And then the other one is a Rat Fink inspired shot of Chad's car with like the guy with the big, bloodshot eyes and all the things, right? Really cool. Go over there. Whichever one gets the most votes, I'm guessing, is going to become a T-shirt or a sticker or something like that, Chad?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the next stage of designs. I've been wearing the two-lined T-shirt for the last 10 plus years, and we need to do something a little different. We're going to get rid of all of the old designs, come up with some new designs, and everyone's like, "Well, it's not very mini." It's like, well, no, but it's cool.
Yeah,
like it
very
doesn't
cool.
necessarily have to have a mini logo on it just to be neat, So.
Chad, you didn't say that you wore the same T-shirt for 10 years, right?
No, well, I mean the same design. It's not the same
Just checking.
T-shirt. Yeah.
Alex,
So.
Alex, do us a favor and rejack, please, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Phew. Chad, thank you very much. Of course, if you have a question for our man Chad, you can send that over to us. Ask Chad at whiteroofradio.com. That's Ask Chad at whiteroofradio.com. And of course, if you like the work that our man Chad does for you and, his local Detroit community, click on over to DetroitTune.com and get yourself something nice, please. Chad's got all the things. We talked about that last week.
If you misheard that, feel free to email AskChat at...
It's not Ask Chat. It's Ask
With a K.
With a K. Ask
That's
Chad.
AskChat. That's our forum. It's moderated by our friend Zeke in Canada.
Who will be in town next weekend?
Oh, nice. Tell Zeke we all said hi. Hi, Zeke.
In town.
Zeke,
He's doing a fantastic bang-up job there at AskChat.
Anyway,
honestly, I wish Chad owned a mini dealership, because if I brought in my car, I know it would be fixed, not like the local mini dealer that I'm using here.
now I don't want to take this time to start slamming mini dealers now.
Alex,
Yeah. I try to stay away from the negative comments, but not every dealer across the country can be really good. Obviously, Todd's got a really good dealer by him, and I've sent quite a few customers actually to that dealer, and they were very happy with all of his stuff. It all comes down to who's running it, really, and it could be a dealer or an independent shop. If the guy running it, the general manager or whatever, if he's not doing a good job, he's not doing a good job.
Yeah, frankly, on my case, it's not fair. What I said before is not really fair. I don't think it's the dealers. The issue is the dealer. I think it's mostly the quality of the parts. Sometimes it's just, I think they're desirable. It's I don't know. It doesn't seem like those parts are really 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 good. Honestly.
Sometimes that is the case, Alex. You are correct.
Yep.
I've seen the dealer do it, and they do a good job in installing a part. And it turns out that it fails again for whatever reason, or it's not well designed on how it fits, or whatever it is. But that definitely could be a problem also. And what's really sad in that case is it reflects poorly on them.
Yeah, it really does. It does reflect poorly on them.
Yeah, that might be a bad part to begin with, and the dealer installs it. They blame the dealer. It's a new part. It's got to be the dealer.
Yeah.
They're ruining the brand, man.
We're one of the shops that will actually install customer supplied parts. We have a different labor rate for it, but we'll actually install their parts. But there's a lot of shops that will not install any other part that you bring in, no matter what. They will only install what they can sell you, purely for the fact of they want to be able to warranty that part through their vendors, and that's how it all works, regardless of...
That's stupid, because it's a matter of paperwork that the customer brought in their own part, and you're like, okay, I'm telling you right now, I'm providing you no warranty whatsoever unless his part was installed, there was a faulty installation on it, but you're going to know instantly whether it works or not. So, I think too often, shops are cutting their own throats by not going, hey, sure, I'll install this pulley for you. I don't have to warranty it. I think you'd be better off if you don't have to warranty the. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the customers still only read what they want to read, and they'll still come back, and that's the end. So sometimes you got to take that hard line, but
it is a risk, Chad. But I'm sure you said over the years you've been doing business, it's probably a risk it's been worth.
How many times have you had somebody bring you stripes that they wanted you to install?
Oh, it happens a handful of times. Somebody's, I got these stripes on the internet. I'm like, okay, I'll install them, but I'm telling you right now, there's no warranty. And I'll tell you one thing, Chad, usually what ends up happening is they'll come back a year, 2 years later, and I pull them off and put my own stripes on.
Exactly.
And they're like, I'm sorry. And then I charge what's called the asshole tax. You should have learned your lesson the first time.
I'm smarter than the internet tax.
Very
I'm
nice.
kidding. I don't really charge that. Yes, I do.
Again, that's Chad Miller, Detroit Tune, DetroitTune.com. Go over there and check it out if you'd be so kind. Now is another good time for us to remind you about the other fine sponsor here underneath the white roof. That, of course, our friends over at CravenSpeed.com. And for those of you who have already signed up to get the CravenSpeed.com email newsletter, you already know what I'm about ready to tell you. Or if you follow Craven Speed on Twitter, or if you follow White Roof Radio on Facebook, you're already going to know about the hot new ticket over at Craven Speed. And that, of course, is the new Gemini phone mount. Did you guys check this out? You guys got the email, right?
Isn't it the G Mini?
Is it the G Mini? Did I say it wrong?
I don't know.
No, it's Gemini.
Is it Gemini?
You could say G Mini, I guess, but it's Gemini. Anyway, what this is...
The Gemini.
It's the Gemini, exactly. Nice.
Gemini.
And I say Gemini when I'm wearing my short sleeve collared shirt and my skinny black tie, smoking my Pall Malls.
And you've got your...
And I've got a crew cut.
E-cigarette, you mean?
Right. So anyway, the Gemini phone mount, what it is, it's basically the replacement for the FlexPod Extra Large. This is a very cool thing. So you can get it like the FlexPod adapter where it's got the clip for your big phone, or you get it with a magnet instead. So you put I think it's a magnet goes on the back of your phone and it just sticks right there to the phone mount. It is super duper rad. You guys need to click over to cravenspeed.com and check this out. I'll link it up in the show notes. $75, can't beat it. Go ahead.
All of the phones will actually come with both mounts. You'll get the magnet and the XL clip together.
Yep.
And most of obviously the iPhones and stuff, you have a metal back to it, so you'll just be able to click it to the magnet.
Right to the magnet. Done and done.
Done.
Yep.
So it's super quick and accessible, but like he was telling us that the track guys like the clip a little bit better because it holds the phone in a little more tightly.
Obviously. And the nice thing is, from what I understand as well, this is retrofittable if you have a FlexPod XL mount like I have in my Mini. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over to cravenspeed.com. I want you to place one of these in your cart. And then I've got another cool trick for you guys. They shared with me, and you guys didn't see this, but they shared with me a very hot ticket. If you use the coupon code... Get ready for this, and you're going to be able to use this until it stops working. Use the coupon code of Magnetize. You're only going to see that here under White Roof Radio. Coupon code of Magnetize. That's just spelled just like you sound. It's Magnetize. It's going to save you $10. So you'll be able to get this thing for $65. That's a hell of a deal. I got to say, it's an awesome deal. Go over to cravenspeed.com. Look for the Gemini phone mount for Mini. Use the coupon code of Magnetize. Save $10. Done and done. Also, while you're there, if you want, you've got an R50 or an R53. You need a dipstick, which I just put in my car, R56. You're going to want the Craven Speed dipstick. It's really nice. OMG, can actually read it. It doesn't get stuck or broken when you put it in. If you live in almost all the states that require a front license plate, you get the front platypus front license plate mount, so you can mount your license plate to the front of the car without drilling holes in your bumper. Alex, how is yours? Is it brilliant or what?
This is brilliant, and it's not moving one bit.
See?
So it's super easy to install, and it's really robust. So I'm really happy with it. And the bonus is that it actually prevents people from bumping into your bumper. So
nice.
It's pretty good.
That's really cool. Not only that, but the stubby antenna. And if you're rocking an R53, you're going to want a Craven Speed pulley to get that little bit extra boost in your Mini. So all those things, plus a whole bunch more, available over at our friends cravenspeed.com. Go over there and check them out, please. Thank you very much. We had something else. What was it? Todd, didn't you have something else?
Touch.
Do we? How are we doing on time? Because
we're out of time. We can do another.
Yeah, we're out of time because we spent a lot of time talking about the Countryman. Brian, give us the elevator pitch on what do you think of the new touchscreen system that you've been playing with in the Countryman, in the Clubman?
Sum it up: revolutionary. I would have to say that simply and concisely. Between the touch and the voice, it's a game changer for the car.
Excellent. And you've been using it with your iPhone, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean you can? Yeah.
Got it.
It's. Go ahead, Todd.
I would say my biggest issue with touchscreens, and I've had them in a lot of rental cars, is how fingerprinty and smudgy the screens get.
Yes.
So how is the Mini at holding?
Yeah, it's gonna get that too. You know, especially after you chow down on some greasy burger somewhere, you're gonna be fingerprinting it up. But
you're like, what is that? Oh, that's ribs. I had ribs.
Wait, hang on. Smells like barbecue.
The touch is really nice, but what I really liked about it is that you actually can use the voice because it's a natural language now. You can interrupt the system instead of before where you had to let her complete the commands. And you can literally do pretty much everything you need to do with your finger, with just using your voice. So, and I know that Way to Black Roof Radio that, Todd. But
Too easy. Throwing up softballs, man.
well, I'm here. Let me give you a couple quickies, and not literal quickies. But
Stop. That is going to explode.
You can give her the command to enable split screen, but you can also not only just give her the command for split screen, but tell her what you want to show on that split screen. So show split screen with entertainment, and it'll pop right up.
Show split screen with Tumblr porn.
But anyway, I mean, aside from the dirtiness of it, it's a pretty amazing system. So anyway,
we have to stop.
I think
Honestly,
what we want to say to people
stop.
is don't listen to this show on your new Countryman because it's gonna do things that you don't want it to do. It's like Alexa, right? All those tech shows that are talking about Alexa, and then everybody's Alexas are turning on because they're listening to the podcast. And anyways,
Hey
like
Siri. Hey Siri. Search for Tumblr porn.
Yeah.
Good God. Okay, sorry, but no.
So anyway, that's touchscreen and voice.
And now we're done.
And now.
Can't wait to play with.
Oh yeah, can't wait to check it out in person. If you've heard anything, by all means, leave us know in the show notes. But we're done. I think we're done. Going once, going twice. Okay, perfect. We are done. I want to remind you guys one more thing. motoringstripes.com. Todd, how are we doing on motoringstripes.com?
It's going good. I've got some new stuff I'm getting ready to add to it, but I'm trying to work out my deal for Philadelphia, which is coming up at the end of March, and I'm pretty much booked solid. But if you are listening to this and you are interested in something for Philly at the end of March, having me do something, just go to motoringstripes.com, send me a message on the contact form that's there.
There you go.
And then we'll have some new stuff coming up in March.
Excellent. That'll be really cool stuff that we'll hopefully see soon. The bumper protection strips and things like that, including one hopefully soon for the new Countryman as well, correct?
Yes. As soon as that's here and I get to make the measurements on it, because you are going to need that, especially with the picnic bench.
Correct. So that'll be a hot ticket. Will be the Motoring Stripes boot protector for all the cars. So super nice stuff. Not only that, but if you go over there, you hit the swag button, you get keychains. It's like the motoring badges, but on keychain form. Super duper awesome, right? And then we all know the Motoring Stripes hack. If you want the White Roof Radio Sunroof Delete Kit, use the contact form over there. Shoot Todd an email message and tell him what year your car is, what color you want your Sunroof Delete, and he'll send you back a quote.
And start thinking about this. We will be at AmViv coming up
that's
today.
Right. We have AmBiv stuff. I forgot about
So
that.
we want to mention that. I will be there doing installs. So here's just like the early, if you want to be the first.
Yeah.
Send me a message if you want something at AmViv, because I'll be there selling some swag and doing some installs also at AmViv DB. What are the dates of that?
Yes, thank you for that, Todd. I forgot, totally spaced that. So within the last couple of weeks since we last did a show, last time we did the show, the AmViv dates were announced, and it's going to be Thursday, May 18th through Saturday, May 20th, so basically through Sunday, the 21st, right? Registration is open on February 1st. If you have not registered, you can do that. You click over to amviv.com. Again, it's $40 per car, just like it always has been. It's a really good deal. Extra cost for those shirts and stuff. The host hotel is once again going back to the Silverton, which is where AmViv was back in 2015, which is a very... I like the Silverton. I thought it was a very fine venue for this event.
I've stayed there many times
I liked
since.
it a lot too.
Yeah, I've stayed there a handful of times since then.
Yeah. And not only that, but they've got all the schedule's been posted over at amviv.com. That's amviv.com. There'll be a link over in the show notes. So if you guys want to get all that stuff taken care of, all the hotel information is there. Smoking rates on this hotel at Silverton, an amazing deal they're getting for us. So I would highly recommend, if you want to save some ducats, don't stay on the Strip. Stay at the host hotel. And it's a nice place. Besides that, there's a Bass Pro Shops there. What do you want? Come on. Go register, get the time off from work, all the things. And you can keep up with that over at A Mini Vacation, amviv.com. Follow them on Facebook, A Mini Vacation in Vegas, or just stay tuned to White Roof Radio because, like Todd mentioned, we will be there. I'll be at AmViv this year. Todd will be there. Alex, you're going to AmViv, right?
Yes, I am, yeah.
That was Alex. Alex will be there. Chad probably won't make it. Brian's not going to be able to make it either, but the three of us will be there, and maybe we'll get Gabe to helicopter in or something.
It has been on my radar, and I am really trying, but it's kind of like right between holidays and the dragon and all that good stuff. So.
Right. That's the only problem with Anviv, because that is happening again Thursday, May 18th through Saturday, May 20th. But Sunday, the 21st, there's a run actually on the 21st. Let me go here. But there's some amazing runs. There's a Mount Charleston run. There's a poker run. Of course, there's the pool party, vendor alley, scavenger hunt this year. A Calico Ghost Town run. That's going to be huge. That'll be a big run. That's essentially halfway to Southern California and back. Shady Grove Mixer. A lot of fun things that you going on Thursday. Hoover Dam Boulder City run. Of course, the In-N-Out Motor Inn on Thursday night. It's going to be an awesome time. Hope to see you there. That, again, a mini vacation in Vegas. Anviv.com. Go check it out. But otherwise, we are done for this week, gang. Thanks again. A reminder, if you want to help support White Roof Radio, you can do that by clicking over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/White Roof Radio. As part of one of the perks of being a Patreon, besides you get the show before everybody else, you also get access to Black Roof Radio. That's kind of keen. And sometimes it's really Black Roof Radio, and sometimes, well, it's just pre-show chatter, but you're going to get it whenever I record, and it's going to go up every other week or so. And I'm just putting that there because that's kind of a cool thing, and I know you guys like that. Anyway, one of the perks of being a patron here underneath the White Roof, patreon.com/White Roof Radio. Just a couple ducats here and there. Every little bit helps, keeps us going, helps us start new shows like Ride Bikes Radio. Some of you are already listening to that, our new podcast about bicycles I do with Brian Dallas every other week, and it's a lot of fun. And I would like to add one more show to the Underneath the White Roof, and it would really be cool if you guys wanted to help us out to do that. Anyway, patreon.com/White Roof Radio. But now we are done. It's official. I'd like you to, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns, go ahead and click back over to whiteroofradio.com. There you can leave us a note in the show notes. You can also email us, feedback@whiteroofradio.com. But until next time, gang, this is DB. I'm done.
Cheers.
À bientôt. What the hell, Chad?
Uh-oh, we lost Chad.
Did we lose Chad?
Sat on his mute button.
I'm on the mute button. I'm sorry.
And,
I got dogs barking in the back.
And Brian, please exit the show.
I was waiting for Alex to go, so I didn't step on him.
Good grief.
I think
you want to edit it? Yeah,
No,
all
I'm
that
not
back
no,
in.
I'm leaving all that there.
Our first
And
time podcasting, we apologize.
yeah, bye.